Hello everyone, welcome to Motor on Beep Beep, and my name is Alan, and as you can see behind me, I'm at the parish church of St Lawrence, Little Stanmore, alias Whitechurch. So we're here to find a cenotaph for Long John Baldry. He was called that because he was long, he was 6'7". He was a big star, not just in stature, but also in the people that he worked with and the people that he helped to launch their career. He became a friend of Paul McCartney's after playing at the Cavern, and he helped launch the Rolling Stones and directly Rod Stewart, because Rod Stewart had been to see him playing on Eel Pie Island in London, and then he saw Rod doing the Muddy Waters busking at Twickenham Station, and he invited him to join his group, and that was the beginning of Rod Stewart. So Rod's going to be eternally grateful, and they were very good friends obviously. So I will be including a film of Rod Stewart's parents' grave in this also at the end. So Rod, if you see the film, don't forget to say hello to me, because I'm a big fan all my life. I've seen you in concert once, so don't be shy, Rod, say hello. The group that he formed later on was called the Hoochie Coochie Men, and he had a couple of big hits. He had lots of hits, but Don't Let the Heartaches Begin is the one that 1967 that a lot of people will remember, and Don't Try to Lay No Boogie Woogie on the King of Rock and Roll. That's the title if you ever heard one, isn't it? It's great. So I've seen pictures of this stone, and nobody's done it on YouTube, and there's only about 3 pictures as well, so it's quite a sort of secretive, well, not secretive, but it's never been covered by anyone else, so I'm very privileged to be here today. Okay, I'm going to show you the church. There we go. Looks very old, especially the tower at the end. Look at the bricks, how random they are. Yeah, pretty sure it's locked up, you get that vibe. There we go. There we go. So it's a lovely sunny day, very peaceful, even though I'm very close to the centre of London. And this really surprised me, because Elton John was going to marry a lady called Linda Woodrow, and it was 1968, and one night Bernie Taupin and Long John Baldry found Elton trying to kill himself on alcohol and drugs, and it was because he was depressed, and they talked him out of marrying this lady and basically saved his life. So that track is on Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboys, which I bought when it came out, and it's Someone Saved My Life Tonight. I love that track, it's really long, and there's a little bit where it goes Sugar Bee, Sugar Bear, it is actually Sugar Bear, and that's all about Long John Baldry saving Elton's life, so we should thank him for that. Else we wouldn't have had all those later wonderful tracks, would we? And we wouldn't have had Elton either, so that's a good one. John William Long John Baldry. Before achieving stardom, Rod Stewart and Elton John were members of a band led by Baldry. He enjoyed pop success in 1967 with Let the Heartaches Begin, which reached #1 in the UK and Australia. 2 of his best known voiceover roles were as Dr. Ivo Robotnik and The Adventures of the Sonic Hedgehog, and the KOMPLEX in Bucky O'Hare and the Toad Wars. Baldry grew to 6'7" tall, resulting in the nickname Long John Baldry. He appeared weekly for some years at Eel Pie Island on the Thames at Twickenham, and also in the Studio Hotel in Richmond, one of the Rolling Stones' earliest venues. In the early 1960s he sang with Alex Corner's Blue Incorporated, with whom he recorded the first British blues album in 1962, R&B from the Marquee, At stages, Mick Jagger, Jack Bruce and Charlie Watts were members of his band, while Keith Richards and Brian Jones played at one stage. Baldry became friends with Paul McCartney after a show at the Cavern Club in the early 1960s, leading to an invitation to sing on one of the Beatles' 1964 TV specials, Around with the Beatles. Baldry performed Got My Mojo Working and a medley of songs with members of the Vernon Girls trio. In the latter, the Beatles were also shown singing along in the audience. In 1963, Baldry joined the Cecil Davis R&B All-Stars with Nick Hopkins, playing piano. He took over in 1964 after the death of Cyril Davis, and the group became Long John Baldry and the Hoochie Coochie Men, featuring Rod Stewart on vocals and Jeff Bradford on guitar. In 1965, the Hoochie Coochie Men became Steampacket, with Baldry and Stewart as the male vocalists, Julie Driscoll as the female vocalist, and Brian Uger on the Hammond organ. After Steampacket broke up in 1966, Baldry formed Bluesology, featuring Reg Dwyatt on keyboards and Ethan Dean, later of Soft Machine, as well as Celeb Dwyatt, when he began to record as a solo artist, adopted the name Elton John, his first name from Ethan Dean and his surname from John Baldry. Following the departure of Elton John and Bluesology, Baldry was left without a backup band. Attending a show in Mecca at Shaftesbury Avenue, he saw a five-piece harmony group called Chimere from Plymouth, Devon, who had recently turned professional. He approached them after their set and said how impressed he was by their vocal harmonies and that they would be ideal to back him in the cabaret circuit that he was currently embarked on. They did. In 1967, he recorded a pop song, Let the Heartaches Begin, that went to #1 in Britain, followed by a 1968 top 20 hit titled Mexico, which was the name of the UK Olympic team that year. Let the Heartaches Begin made the lower reaches of the Billboard Hot 100 in the USA. Baldry was still doing gigs with Bluesology, but the band refused to back his rendition of Let the Heartaches Begin and left the stage while he performed to a backing tape played by a large Revox tape recorder. In 1971, John and Stewart each performed one side of It Ain't Easy, which became Baldry's most popular album and made the top 100 of the US album charts. The album featured Don't Try and Lay No Boogie Woogie on the King of Rock and Roll, which became his most successful song in the USA. After a time in New York and Los Angeles, in 1978, Baldry lived in Dundas, Ontario, from 1980 to 1984. He toured the coast as well as the US Northwest. Baldry also toured Canada East. Baldry was openly gay during the 1960s, at least among his friends and industry peers. However, he did not make a formal public acknowledgement of this until the 1970s. This was possibly because in 1967 in Britain, male homosexual conduct was still a criminal offence, punished by imprisonment. Baldry died on the 21st of July 2005 at Vancouver General Hospital after 4 months battling a chest infection. He was 64 years old. According to Rexash, Baldry fell ill with pneumonia after returning from a European tour earlier that year, and his infection developed antibiotic resistance. And in 1980, Long John Baldry was doing a very large vigil in Toronto, near Canada, and he heard the sad news that John Lennon had died, and he was close with John Lennon, so he announced the extremely sad news to the entire massive audience. Yeah, I remember that too. You do, you remember these things, don't you? You remember where you were when Elvis died, very sadly recently the Queen, of course. Where were you? If you have a memory of anybody like that, tell me on the comments below. What were you doing? Where were you? Is it emblazoned on your brain? I've seen it. Wow. Now there's only 3 pictures on the internet, so there wasn't a lot to go from. But yes, it is. Yes, yes, yes. Here we go. Spin you round. There we are. Wonderful. Yeah, here we are. Oh yes. Okay, I'll read it out. In loving memory of William J. Baldry, 17th of the 10th, 1890 to the 12th of the 8th, 1945, and his wife, Elaine A. Baldry, 25th of the 1st, 1890 to the 16th of the 2nd, 1951, and grandson, John W. Baldry, LJB, 12th of the 1st, 1941 to the 21st of the 7th, 2005. Long John Baldry, you were a big man in many ways in the music industry and in size, but yeah, that's great, is that? So lovely to find it. Next to the church, look, very close. I'm very excited to find this one. It's not on the tour normally, but I was told by one of the guys working here about it, and I'm a lifelong fan of Rod Stewart. Fantastic singer, Rod Stewart. Loved all his records. I think he's in my top 5 favourites of all time, and this is his parents' grave. So dearest Rod will know this one. Here we go. There we are. I'm going to read it out as well. In loving memory of our very dear husband, father, Joseph Robert Stewart, born on the 26th of December 1904, died on the 8th of September 1990. Thanks for the tartan pride, Dad. And his beloved wife, Elsie Rebecca Stewart, born on the 14th of December 1905, died on the 8th of August 1996. We'd walk 1,000,000 miles for one of Mum's smiles. That's great, isn't it? Look at the footballer on the right. I'm a massive fan of Rod Stewart, so your son is great. Well done. It's a credit to you. What a performer he is. And even though I wasn't coming to see this one today, I'm so excited to find it. We'll send our thoughts to you though, that's the main thing. And anybody who is out there will be doing the same thing who's watching the video. You were a very influential guy in the music industry. So, that was a very big privilege for me to find Long John Baldry. And it's a lovely day. Bye-bye, Long John. So, don't forget to subscribe and ding the bell so you don't miss any future films. It's free, of course. And a thumbs up and a comment would be great. I love those. I love the comments. I like to answer them and get to know everybody. So, from a very sunny October day near London, I'll say goodbye from me, Alan, at Motor on Beep Beep. I hope I see you again very soon. Take care. Bye bye.